this morning we discussed again about the specialized MDM. So, today's session is going to be focusing on specialized MDM. Why do we need specialized master data governance or master data quality? Why do we need it? Why generalized MDMs cannot serve the purpose? That is what is going to be the topic today. Just a quick introduction. I am Imad Syed, CEO of PiLog. Hope you heard me this morning as well. Now, if you look at from an board level lever, this is why I am bringing this is there are several transformations that are happening on this planet, probably more than ever. Every organization is going through a transformation change, be it for AI, be it for asset specific challenges, be it for improving operations and maintenance efficiency, be it for procurement efficiency, be it for any of these things. So, there are several transformations that are happening all the time, and this is, I believe that for the next 2 to 3 years this is also going to carry forward with that. So, that is why it has become a board level discussion when it comes to the asset management in those industries, in those organizations where assets are really treated as assets rather than just how can you utilize it, how can you misuse it. So, from that perspective, if you look at it, these board level discussions are absolutely on those things, if it is whether it is energy transition, whether it is on the reliability and AI, or whether it is as part of your RISE projects or going for a green implementation or right the first time. So, from that perspective, if you look at it, what are the hidden costs? Why everybody is looking into these kind of initiatives from a asset master perspective? The hidden cost is unplanned downtime. Believe me, every organization, though they claim that now we don't have any unplanned downtime, if you go and do the analysis on their maintenance history, maintenance notifications, pending work orders, emergency work orders, you would find that there is a lot of unplanned downtime, which means that the assets are breaking down, those are not working as per the planned maintenance strategies that are in place. And then the other important thing, this is actually a topmost in some of the organizations where the material master is not outsourced to the vendors or the OEMs, is their internal inventory holding cost. It is massive, it is a spend that you do it every time that you are purchasing it, but you are piling it up. And if you really believe that no, you do not have it, you can open up the balance sheet, year end balance sheet of it, you would see there what is the entire working capital, you would see underneath that millions of it. That is really a challenge. Why? Because nobody is looking into optimization of the inventory. So, again today I am not going to be talking about how MDM is good, I am going to be actually focusing on these problems of it. And then the procurement leakage. Believe me, the emergency purchase orders are the killers, because you are procuring it without any plan. We are procuring it at a premium. Sometimes you are procuring a material at a premium of 4 to 5 times more, which is really not good. I will give you a simple example of it. In Saudi Arabia, Jubail Industrial City, where we have a lot of customers, one of the valves, its value was $6,000, and it was existing in one of the warehouses of other customer, whereas they had to transport that, they had to buy it, they had to airship it at $60,000 base price, 10 times more, and I am just giving you only one example of it. So, those procurement leakages, and the other biggest procurement leakage is the free text, because SAP is an ERP system. If you are trying to arrest the procurement leakage of free text from SAP ERP perspective, you will not be able to do that, because the ERPs are not designed to arrest the free text. That is the reason we have got a solution which is a procurement excellence solution. Again, it is built on the master data. So, even if you are giving a free text, even if you are speaking freely with whatever the text, I want this material, that material, it transforms that into a classified material with class and characteristics automatically using our repositories and the knowledge base what we have. And obviously compliance risks. sometimes when you are buying something, sometimes there is probably a leakage from the compressor, sometimes there is a leakage probably from a valve which has got some of the critical or the hazard material that is flowing. It is a compliance risk, and especially in energy industry, especially in that, compliance penalties are there, and that is also one of the things. And then stranded value, because you have untrusted data flowing through the entire SAP ecosystem. I mean, these days if you look at it, what we as human beings are looking into it is the what you say, healthy blood that flows through our veins. If we even monitor little bit of cholesterol this side or that side, we are worried about it. But we are not worried about the data that is actually running the business, going through your entire SAP ecosystem or operational systems, which is bad data. Bad data is flowing everywhere. So our objective is that arrest these hidden cost of it. How can we arrest those ones? Now, why we are saying that, why generic MDM always under delivers? When I talk about generic MDM, the MDM that's maybe correcting the data of business partner, supplier data, or maybe HR data, or maybe a cost center, maybe a profit center. That's a generic MDM in our case. Whereas what PiLog is bringing is specialized MDM focused on end-to-end data lifecycle management of asset. And for an asset, you need taxonomies, because otherwise you have, I have asked once a question to a very senior engineer saying that, can you please tell me, in energy industry, how many different types of valves are there? Can you just name them? They stopped, that particular person stopped after 15. But there are 54 different valve types that are used today on this planet in the energy industry. And how do you know that? Everything is a valve. But what is the valve? Okay, what kind of valve it is? No, diaphragm valve. Okay, needle valve. What is the use of it? Then you really need taxonomy. That's why the specialized MDM solutions need to exist, that brings in taxonomies, that brings in all the ontologies, that brings in the ISO standards as part of that. That's why we are saying. Then the other important thing is, if you now look at the MDM tools, some of them, those are record based. How many records are you creating? Because it should not be just record based, it should be how many unified records that you are creating that are meaningful, that can be used. So it's an asset-centric kind of MDM is needed. Free text creep. The MDMs need to stop free text for assets as well as the materials and services, because all of these are relevant. Now, even if you look at the maintenance notification, let's suppose there is a maintenance notification, a guy goes and fixes it and posts something else, a free text. You will not be able to analyze it, because you don't know where you are spending on. That's why what do we bring? We bring FEMIA libraries, failure code. So if this is a failure, and if this is a cause, and this is a resolution, so everything is a drop down. So tomorrow if you would like to analyze something out of it, then you have the standard. And what are we bringing? We are actually accumulating all the standards and augmenting it with our dictionaries and bringing it together into SAP environment or SAP EAM environment. That's why we really need those kind of things. And then slow siloed workflows. We have seen, very recent, even this year, we have spoken to a lot of C-level and the plant maintenance heads, when they were telling that, okay, by the way, plant maintenance strategies are actually originating from this system, but whereas the asset master is actually originating from here, task list is from here, service now is doing some of the work instructions. Guys, how can you have so many entry points, so many siloed things? So when we look at any asset, we need to look it as a holistically as an asset, maintenance plans, maintenance items, task list, FEMIA, everything combined. So whenever we are also onboarding an asset, people are most worried about only two things. Oh, where am I going to install this, which function location, and what is the asset? No, you need to go beyond that, and that's why these siloed systems cannot work. And then lot of the tools that are available currently, they do not have pre-built integration with the SAP EAM for that matter, okay? Because there might be some integrations with business partner, there might be some integrations with HR master, but you need really the integration. When we talk about asset-centric industry, you need the integration with the SAP EAM. PiLog, as an endorsed solution, we have more than 220 integrations between the data objects what we have and SAP system. So, it is for private cloud, it is for public cloud, it is for the entire SAP EAM or SAP PM, we have that. And then shallow data quality, because data quality is measured in many of the generic MDM solutions as a text to text match. For an asset, what is the unique thing? Unique thing is make and model. That is a unique, and actually the data quality should be measured on that, and the data quality should be measured on performance characteristics. The data quality should be measured on the physical characteristics, because a pump of probably a size of maybe 20 inches is completely different from a size of 20 meters. So, the data quality for that is completely different, because operating pressures are different, temperatures are different, flow rates are different, voltages are different, how do you install is different, what the purpose is different. So, even data, you have just the shallow data quality. What are you doing? You are just doing deduplication based on the free text, based on the text. So, those are the things. That is why we believe that generic MDM solutions or platforms cannot deliver this value. You need specialized MDM solutions for that. So, what is specialized MDM for asset-centric operations? 5 different things. I already spoke about a couple of them, but AI powered data quality, because everybody feels that AI should be utilized. We built over a period of time based on our content, based on our context, based on our industry experience, we build the AI agents that does the data quality check, and you can train them as well. So, there are QC agents that can be trained on your data set, within your environment, that can identify those patterns and improve the quality of it. There are enrichment agents that you can utilize it. There are data scanning agents, the data collection agents. So, all those agents are powered by AI. And asset onboarding, like I said, asset onboarding, whenever we are onboarding it, we will onboard that as a complete package. We will not just onboard in bits and pieces of it. That is why specialized MDMs are required. Like I said, already mentioned about the taxonomies. We have 25 million plus records of asset and MRO, and probably every month we are adding new and also removing some of them that are outdated. It is a continuous job. It is not that we collected it 5 years ago and we are using it, because some of the specifications are changing, some of the form, fit and functions are changing. Governance and compliance, and then deployment at scale. So, when I talk about scale, we have the solution that can be deployed on-prem, that can be deployed in a private cloud environment, or that can be deployed in a public cloud environment as well. So, you can even start small from a public cloud environment perspective and move it into private cloud, because you do not even have to worry about the integrations of it, because we have the integrations built for all the different environments. Now, the asset lifecycle chain of outcomes. Like even this morning as part of the keynote Q&A, I mentioned that we do not want to sell features, we would like to sell outcome, we would like to promise outcome of it. What is the outcome? OEM data handover, 100% it takes care of it. If OEM is giving you any documents as part of asset handover process, or EPC is giving you any of the documents as part of asset or a plant or a site handover process, we can ingest all of that data and build it. Standardized taxonomy, which that comes pre-built within the solution, you do not have to do anything. And by the way, nice thing about this taxonomy is that this taxonomy is compliant with 14224 standard, it is compliant with 81346 standard, it is compliant with the 8000 standard, which is for the master data quality. It is also compliant for 29002, which is for the characteristic data exchange across different systems. And then obviously, since we are talking about asset management, 55,000 compliant, that is automatically compliant. So, that is asset onboarding. You can create master records. We have several videos. I request you to visit our booth and you would be able to watch them, how we can onboard asset from an handover process into completely the SAP environment. And then bombs and spare. This is also, whenever you are onboarding an asset, we guarantee that we do not create additional quantities of any of the spare parts. We guarantee, because we have the EOQ, economic order quantity calculators, that does the calculation not only on the data that you are onboarding, but also the data that is sitting in SAP. So it does the balance of it, because every time you are onboarding an asset, you are also onboarding lot of spares along with that. Probably you might not need, you might have that asset already, the spares, only the quantities is something that you need to. So that's also something that we definitely look out of this solution. Supply assurance, because whenever you are onboarding, we are not just taking asset and the spare parts, but we are also taking who is the end supplier that is supplying that particular spare part, who is the service provider for that. That is also we are linking it, and that is also we are bringing out of it. Obviously, I mentioned about it, inventory optimization, safety stock calculation, all of it. Once we do all of this, the entire inventory optimization, those calculations can go and sit in SAP's IBP MRO tool, that is for the entire MRO management. But these need to be first trained, and then those rules can sit in IBP MRO and you can manage it out of it. But for the first time, you have to, when you are onboarding an asset, you use this tool, and later on SAP can manage out of SAP IBP MRO. And maintenance strategy, we are giving out of the box several maintenance strategies. It is up to the organization to choose whether it is preventive, whether it is condition based, whether it is predictive or reactive, or whatever the maintenance strategy. So we have built it per asset type, and you can tailor it also per model and make as well, and that's the beauty of it. And these are out of the box available, and as we talk, we are actually building it. We have now several asset management projects that we are directly working with the EPCs, directly working with the OEMs, and that's why we are able to onboard all of this data. And work execution, so again, this is, we will supply only the data for that, SAP does rest of it. Our job is to bring in the unified data into SAP ecosystem, so that SAP can perform rest of the ERP things. And reliability analytics, you will be able to do that, and SAP has another great solution, which is APM, Asset Performance Management. Once you have all of this data, you would be able to set up SAP APM very quickly. So one of the things that we have seen is that if you do not have the right EAM data in S4, you won't be able to embark onto the journey of SAP APM. That's what we are seeing. So this data not only helps setting up everything in S4 HANA as part of SAP EAM, but also for the APM. And closed loop governance, that's again coming from SAP APM perspective. Continuous improvement, you have the data quality dashboards, not just from the free text perspective, but also from the form, fit and function perspective, operating requirements perspective, measuring points perspective, that you would be able to continuously improve it. One of the other things that SAP provides is SAP BNAC, Business Network for Asset Collaboration. If you would like to connect it with the OEM directly and get some of the data validated, you would be able to do that. So that's also one of the beauty of it. Obviously, we have a lot of our AI, our own Gen AI engine, we have it, but we will be slowly moving that into SAP environment, so that it can be consumed by Joule very soon. So what is it that we are talking about? Higher uptime, definitely. And by the way, those percentages 29 to 34%, those are not thumbs up figures. Those are from our experience of last 20 years of experience. This is what first time when we hit the project, you would see the uptime. So overall equipment efficiencies contribution would be from 29 to 34%. Mean time to repair, that's the reduction on it. Absolutely lower cost. Even in this morning as well, I mentioned one of the examples of it. One of our customers who has invested $4.5 million, over a 18-month period, they could save on O&M 122 million. And by the way, these numbers are coming from them after 18 months. It's not something that I am actually projecting it here. And if you would like to talk to that customer, what have they done, how did they set up their entire SAP EAM, how did they set up the maintenance strategies, and how did they realize, we can even organize a call with them. And then safer operations, obviously who doesn't want the safer operations as part of. And then one of the things that you don't have to worry about is that whether you have discrete systems or whether you have only SAP system. Integration is something that we guarantee. We can bring in the data integrated from various systems into your operational systems. So, be it S4, if you are now, there are couple of customers that I met, they are coming to S4 from non-SAP environment. Don't worry about that. We can bring that integration, be it from Maximo, be it from any of the other non-SAP platforms. We have already pre-built validations. So, even from the source itself, we bring all those validations as part of it and we will bring it. So, it's a SAP native integration, be it for public cloud, be it for private cloud, be it for on-premise. So, what differentiates PiLog? You will be able to do AI at scale, because whatever we are talking about is acceleration and scale. So, acceleration from a speed perspective, scaling from massive volumes perspective, because there are a lot of background AI agents that can work overnight and look at the data from various sources, combine it and present it in the morning, and that is what we are doing. So, there are a lot of agents that can work on it. And Content Foundry, this is unique. I do not think that you would find anybody else on this planet who can provide you out of the box golden records of it. I am not sure about Mars, whether somebody has built there, but definitely on earth you will not find any other company. And governance path, you have workflows that you can build yourself. When it comes to the specialized MDM solutions, you do not need anybody else. And by the way, what we are doing on our private cloud is that it is DIY. If you understand the master data, you will be able to implement it yourself in less than 2 days, and that is what we are guaranteeing. And you would always have the AI agents supporting you via the workbenches, do this, do that, this is the right configuration, and it always guardrails you, and then you will be able to implement that. And then, like I said, enterprise scale, this is not a software that is built only for the smaller industries. It can oscillate between small industries to the extra large complex industries as well. So, in one of the instances, we are integrating with 24 SAP instances with one centralized repository of master data, 24, and all of them are diversified different businesses, not the same businesses. One is energy, one is sport, one is sports. So, we are doing that. So, from the scaling perspective, you do not have to worry about it. This is just again, this what we are telling is that SAP has intention to acquire Reltio, but what Reltio does? Reltio is focusing on customer 365. They are absolutely wonderful, and we are also saying that PiLog, we will not serve customer 365 or customer master because there is already a player. And Reltio is to actually accelerate the journey of BDC, SAP BDC. So, their focus is different, whereas our domains, if you look at it, is asset, complete asset, and material MRO space, bill of materials, and the plant maintenance, and the entire asset life cycle management. So, that differentiation, and this slide is only to just clarify the difference between what each product offers. Like I said, PiLog's foundation is on 4 pillars. One is definitely the content foundation, and then the context, because we have also the plant maintenance strategies that are tailor made for utilities, that are tailor made for other industries. So, you would be able to get that particular context as well, and then the AI foundation, and then the fourth one is the SAP native integration. Those are the 4 core pillars of the PiLog solution. And like I already mentioned, quantified impact, our clients have realized is that is the impact. Equipment availability 29 to 34%, and then mean time to report 30 to 37% reduction, and O&M cost, inventory cost, including the OEM cost 20 to 25% during the first year realization itself. So, implementation, what can we do? How can we start? If somebody says that no, this is too true to believe, do not worry, let us do a pilot, let us do a POV. We can do that in couple of weeks to 4 weeks. We are doing now currently several POVs. this year we have done about 37 proof of values. We are not calling it as POC because it's a concept. We don't want to prove the concept, we want to prove the value of it. So it's a proof of value. You can start with that, scale it down, slice it. We take some assets that you provide us, and then maybe we can start with that. You see the value of it, what is the quantification of it, and then maybe we can scale it up. So that's the easiest way to do. If you see that now probably I need to know really do I have data or not, give us your data set. We will do the data quality assessment and give you for free. So you can also look at it, what are the gaps within your data quality and what are the different dimensions that are missing into it. So you can actually quickly start, because we are really quick starters, because we believe in speed and scalability. You can start with that, and then if you really would like to move to the next step, you will be able to move to the next steps. Yeah, why PiLog now? I think I already did that. So if you have any specific questions, you may ask now, or we have a booth where we will be able to showcase and do a deep dive into any of your specific questions. Thank you. Thank you.
PiLog, 30 years of excellence.